up out of our control. We sent to over 50 different scholars and apologists and educational professionals across the country, and people have flooded back going, wow, this is really cool, and I just keep being blown away more and more. So I am absolutely thrilled that you guys get to share this night and hear from such an experienced, well-read, well-written apologist, theologian, teacher, and mentor, and dare I say now, friend in our Christian world. But first, before we get to that treat, I want to give you a different treat. I want to introduce to you two students that graciously agreed, I coerced them a little bit, agreed to give a short presentation on their chapter. See, this book's design is that it's all about the certainty of the Christian faith. Can we be certain? Do you know why you believe what you believe? Is it even possible? Well, they think it is. And they go through all kinds of different topics. You can read this thing straight through. You could also read it in different sections, however you like. So we have two students. We have Michael Unger and Rebecca Nelson. Before I bring Rebecca up, let me tell you a little bit about Michael. Those that know Michael are laughing. Michael's been, I'm going to write down kind of what he gave a little bit to me. He's been at OCS for 3 years. And when he walked through the door, it was weird to have a student that was a little smarter than me. Well, he's read more books than me, I'm sure. He loves literature, loves books. This guy's always got a different book in hand. He brings like 3 to class. I'm like, why are you carrying on this many books? You're not going to read these right now. We've got work to do. But he wants to teach English, or go to college to teach in English literature. But most of all, his passion, his desire is to see others not just come to faith, but grow in their knowledge of faith. He has such a deep, passionate thirst for the deeper things of not just Scripture, but all things, to really figure out how they kind of tie into God's truth. It's really very cool. Then you have Rebecca, first year at OCS, all the way down from Georgia, probably right about now thinking, why did we move? No one told her or her family how cold it is up here this time of year. And we all forget too, by the way. Just a little less than a year ago, they came up here. But what's interesting is that if you met her in our hallways, you would not know that she is new. She fits right in, and she has made OCS her home. Even if for a short year, she's going to be one of those graduates that we think, yeah, wasn't she here all for 8 years, 12 years, 14 years, whatever it is? Yeah, that makes perfect sense, absolutely. They have very different chapters, very different ideas, but they also kind of go together a little bit. So, I'll shut up. So please give a warm welcome to Rebecca Nelson.
That argument that it's right for you kind of thing is called religious pluralism. And it comes off from the idea of relativism. That religious pluralism is when you believe that all religions can lead to salvation at the same time. All of them can be right at the same time. And it's really something that's very popular in our society today. But one of the main or most well-known authors or philosophers about religious pluralism is John Hick. And I studied his ideas on religious pluralism and really broke down his ideas and thoughts on that. And one of the main things that he says to try to defend religious pluralism is to say that all of the major world religions focus on the same divine reality, or God, you could say. But then if you really look at the different gods or divine beings of all the major world religions, they don't coincide. And my friend Malia wrote another chapter in the book, and she, on religious pluralism, and she took the different major world religions and broke down their arguments, and I looked through her chapter and went to the section about God. And if you look at the view of God from Islam, they believe that their God Allah, his nature is unknown, but his will is found in the Quran. And then Hinduism believes in multiple forms of the same divine energy. And so it's one God, but multiple gods at the same time. And then Christianity believes in a gracious Trinitarian God. So if you really break down the different views of God from the different religions, they do not coincide whatsoever. So Hicks' argument that all of the major world religions focus on the same God is not correct, because the religions would all be the same religion if they did. So that's completely doesn't make sense in his argument. Also, you can't choose one view of God or a divine reality without choosing one religion over another, which is basically completely against his argument of religious pluralism. So you can't choose any specific characteristics of God without choosing a specific religion, which is not what he's arguing. He also goes through and breaks down the Christian view that Christianity is the only way to salvation. And he uses the argument that Jesus never claimed to be God, and the disciples never claimed Jesus to be God, which in actuality, that's not right. In the Bible, in Mark 2:10, Jesus forgives the sins of a crippled man, which is only something that God can do. And so that's just one instance of Jesus flat out saying, yes, I am God. He definitely claimed that. The resurrection is also a claim that Jesus is God, because only God can rise from the dead. The disciples also definitely claimed that Jesus was God. By just one example, Paul, throughout all of his letters, uses Jesus and God interchangeably and makes them the same person, because he is claiming that Jesus is God. And then the most famous or most well-known example is Thomas the disciple, when after he sees Jesus after the resurrection, just flat out says, my Lord, my God. And so that's definitely shows that Jesus and the disciples all claimed that Jesus was God. So Hicks' argument against that, against the Christian view, that Jesus is the only way, is not valid. Also, in Hicks' rejecting of this view of Jesus, completely just self-defeats his purpose, because by rejecting the main foundation of Christianity, he's rejecting Christianity as a religion, and his entire argument is that all religions can be right. So he's just rejecting part of his argument, which is very circular reasoning. So with his argument has many inconsistencies, and then just religious pluralism in general has a lot of different circular reasoning and things like that. One is that no two religions can be right at the same time, like I said, with the different views of God and things. They just do not coincide at all whatsoever. Also, you can't choose any doctrine for sure about any view, say the character of God or salvation or whatever that leads to, or the afterlife. You can't decide on any specific doctrine, because you would be choosing one religion over the other. And religious pluralism is saying that all of them can be right, there's no superior religion. So that's just completely inconsistent. Another thing is that religious pluralism leads, since you can't choose any doctrine about God, you end up leading to agnosticism. And agnosticism is basically unbelief. It's the belief that you cannot know anything about God, and that it's just, not even his existence, you can't know if he exists or not. So, since you can't know anything about him, you don't even know if he exists or not. So, that's just another thing about religious pluralism that just does not line up or make even logical sense. And also, not only is it inconsistent within itself, there are many reasons why Christians should not believe in religious pluralism, and why our doctrine is not does not support it. Just one example, as Christians we believe that the Bible is God's holy word and that it is 100% true. And then in John 14:6 is probably the most well-known verse that clearly states, it says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus is saying there that he is the only way. There's no other way to interpret that verse. That verse just clearly states that Jesus is the only way and that no other religions lead to salvation, no other ways except through Jesus. So that's probably like the most well-known verse example of that. Another reason why religious pluralism does not line up with Christianity is that as Christians we are called to the Great Commission, which is when in Matthew 28, when Jesus calls us to spread the gospel to all nations. That's not just people that agree with us or people that are like, yeah, that's right, but I'm going to believe this. We are called to spread the gospel to everyone. Now, I do understand why it's appealing to believe religious pluralism, because we want to be kind and compassionate to everyone. And we should not just go up into other people's faces and be like, no, you're wrong, kind of thing. We shouldn't be angry and stuff like that, but we should tell them the truth because we are called to spread the gospel. It's, in reality, Pete here is a fruit. And so there is one right answer. It's not like, yeah. So I understand that religious pluralism is definitely appealing and we don't want to offend anyone, like we said, but in the Bible, we are called to spread the gospel to non-believers. So.